Hello, I'm James Patterson, and in this video I'm going to show you how to sharpen and save your images. So I have my image of my eyelash here. Let's just press Command and Control and plus to zoom in a little bit. Hold space and drag to move around so we can get a nice close-up view of this eyelash here. Let's just duplicate our layer by pressing Command and Control and J to copy it. So now we have a second layer that we can use to sharpen without affecting our original pixels. Now first of all, let's go to the sharpen tool over here in the tools panel. Now once upon a time in versions of Photoshop earlier than CS5, the sharpen tool was to be avoided at all costs. It would just produce really undesirable results. If I just whiz over these lashes here quickly, and you can see how it used to behave. It's just creating lots of artifacts and not really doing the job I want it to do, which is to sharpen the lashes. So let's just go ahead and dump that layer by dragging it to the trash can. Let's press Command and Control and J just to duplicate my background layer again, so I have a fresh copy to work with. Now in CS5 the tool's been given a complete overhaul, and we now have this option up here to protect detail. So let's check that. This is checked by default, by the way. I just turned it off to show you how the old rubbish version of the sharpen tool worked. And now the new and improved version has protect detail, so we can whiz over the lashes with this option checked, and the tool will do a much better job of sharpening those dark lashes while retaining that kind of softness in the background. So it's probably going to take a little while for it to compute, obviously because it's much more refined than before, so it's going to take a little longer for Photoshop to work out what to do. And there we go. I've probably overdone it slightly just for the benefits of the video, but let's turn that top layer on and off, and you can see if I zoom in maybe even closer to this lash here, let's turn that's with it on, that's with it off, so you can see in the background area how I'm not getting over to those artifacts I was getting before, and it's a much smoother result. Now let's just hit Command and Control 0 to go back to full screen, and I'm going to show you a couple of sharpening techniques to sharpen overall images. So let's go to Filter, Sharpen, and the two options in here that we probably want to use the most are Smart Sharpen and Unsharp Masking. We're going to use Unsharp Masking, so let's click on that one. And this will bring up my Unsharp Mask dialog box. I can click over part of the image here, and you can see I have this icon, this rectangular icon. I can click over a lash here just to view that, and then if I click and release in my preview window, I can get a view of before and after the sharpening. So I think we'll bring amount up slightly. This will control the overall intensity of the sharpening effect. Radius will control the number of pixels in which the sharpening will operate. So let's bring that to about 1.4, I think, just to widen that area of pixels slightly. And threshold will control the overall intensity of the effect, so we can bring that up to lower the intensity. Let's just leave it at 0 for now. Let's hit OK to apply that. And next I'm just going to show you one final sharpening technique that's really useful. It involves a filter, so let's go ahead and duplicate our layer again by pressing Command and Control and J. Then let's go to the filters options here and choose Other, High Pass. So bring up our high pass filter, and we can use the radius slider here to adjust the intensity of that effect. I think somewhere around 5.7 I think would work nicely. Let's hit OK to apply it. And then if we change the blend mode of this layer to overlay, we'll get a view of the image where if we zoom in slightly, you can see how that high pass filter is working to sharpen the edges while retaining the softness in the rest of the image. And then if we just add a layer mask to this top layer by clicking on the Add Layer Mask icon, if we hold Alt as we click though, it will add a full mask that will hide everything on that layer. Then we can paint back on this mask with white to selectively reveal parts of the sharpening. So let's grab the brush tool with white as our foreground colour. Let's bring opacity up to 100, and then we can paint over the lashes here to reveal that sharpening effect over the lashes, just like that. And if I flick the top layer on or off, you can see how it's working. And obviously as this is on its own layer, we can also lower the opacity as well if we want to just tone down the overall effect like that. Now I'm happy with how my image is looking, so the next step is to save it. And we can do this by going to File, and we can choose Save or Save As. These are the shortcuts. That would be Command and S on a Mac and Shift and Command and S. Let's go to Save As. And obviously you can choose where you'd like to save your video with the options up here, or select over here. We're interested in the format drop down here. Let's click on that to open it. And the three options that I think photographers would use most is Photoshop, PSD, JPEG and TIFF. Let's choose Photoshop PSD. Click Save. Let's hit OK to apply that. And then let's just close that document down. Now we can navigate to wherever it is on our computer to open it up, or we can go to File, Open Recent. Just to do this so quickly, let's click on that to reopen it. And you can see I've opened it and I have all of my layers intact. This is what you get with a Photoshop PSD document. It means you can save documents and go back to them with all of their layers still fully editable. Now the other two options we have are File, let's just go back to Save As. The other two options we're most interested in is JPEG and TIFF. Let's choose JPEG this time. Let's hit Save, hit OK. And you have your JPEG options here, so you can choose to change the quality of your JPEG. Let's just keep it at 12 for now. We only really want to reduce the quality if we're looking to save for web or things like that. Let's hit OK. And then if I go to my folder here, you can see I have my JPEG image. Let's just click and drag that into Photoshop to open it up. And you can see this version of my image doesn't have any layers. It's all been flattened to one layer. So in this case, a PSD is far more useful than a JPEG. Another problem with JPEGs is that the information, the pixels within the image are compressed when you save, and then they're uncompressed when you open it up. So this constant compressing and uncompressing will eventually lead to loss of data. This isn't to say that JPEGs aren't a useful format to save in. They're very useful because the file sizes are so much smaller than PSDs or TIFFs. And this means you can save images to put up on a web page or email to people, or do many other things that you simply couldn't do with PSDs and TIFFs because the file sizes are so large. Now the other option is to save as a TIFF. So let's go back to my PSD document here, and then let's go to File, Save As, and this time let's choose TIFF from the drop down menu here. Let's go to Save, and this will bring up my TIFF options where I can choose to set an image compression, and I can also choose down at the bottom here to keep my layers intact or discard my layers and save a flattened version. Let's choose this option to discard layers for the moment. Let's hit OK to apply that. And then if I go to my folder here again, you can see now I have my TIFF file. Let's drag that into Photoshop and up here and Release to open up my TIFF. And you can see again I have all of my layers flattened on my TIFF, but I could have chosen to keep them intact if I wanted to. But it's useful to save as a flattened document, so the file size will be smaller than my PSD, but not as small as my JPEG. And this is also a lossless format, so I won't be losing any information by any compression that we get, say, with a JPEG. With a TIFF, all of my original image information is still there. So that's just 3 different ways you can save your images. And if I go back into my window here, you can see I have my 3 images at the bottom here with varying file sizes. My JPEG is about 17 megabytes. My PSD, on the other hand, is 213 megabytes, and my TIFF is somewhere in between at 52. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching.